Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Chris, aka Bar None 11970. Long time no here. Unfortunately, I can't do long videos anymore, and I can't do live videos anymore because YouTube has basically blocked my channel to the point where I could barely do anything anymore. But that's okay. Just my predictions about what's going on because, you know, as they say, governments never let a good crisis go to waste. I just have a feeling that they're going to need another martyr like they did for the 2020 election with the, let's go in Scooby-Doo language, the Roid. Well, ended up not being a murder because they found out that it actually, the gentleman had so much fentanyl in his system, he was going to pass away regardless, so they don't talk about that stuff. But that's a story for another time. You can believe whatever you want to believe. And if you want to hate me for, things that you could look up to be factual, by all means, please do. But that happened May of 2020. They're going to need another martyr because they have to have it to where things are going to be so unsafe that they're going to either keep people from voting or have people shy away from voting in order to protect you. And as Benjamin Franklin once said, and I don't know if it's a direct quote, but if you sacrifice liberty for security, you will get neither. So this is my opinion, and that's it. And YouTube can't say anything about a belief or an opinion. So this, I'll say, is what I believe that could be a possibility. Where, excuse me, I just want to make sure I'm paying attention when I'm driving, that these quote-unquote peaceful protests that are going on from people that have the IQ to the point where they probably could not even spell IQ with their, Marxist poetry that they're learning in college, money well spent. I kind of find it funny how organized these things are, because if you know anything about kids these days, they're not very well organized doing anything. And yet, college campuses, not only all around the United States of America Corporation, are all happening simultaneously. With many people, by the way, actually that do not attend those colleges, makes you wonder how many of those people came over one of the borders illegally just for these kind of purposes. I'm sure it's all coincidental, sarcastically said. But what better martyr than to have these poor, innocent, and I'm saying it facetiously, protesters, peaceful protesters, by the way, no violence, no intolerance, no nothing, to have somebody get injured to the point where a possible death will happen, or at least a staged one. Now, who would be the best victim for this? Well, they already did the African-American black male, and this has to do with Middle East, so it has to be a Middle Eastern person that's going to be the victim. And they've already done the male, and since everything is so female-eccentric these days, and I'm sure that's not a word, but I don't care, don't be surprised if you see a female Middle Eastern woman, if they identify as that, end up having the media use as a martyr to where violence erupts and the government will come in, for your safety, of course, and for your protection, because, they're all about your safety and protection. They're going to say, well, we have to be very careful around voting time, or we're going to have to stop the voting and do, mail-in ballots, because people are so enraged that you may be totally unsafe standing in line at a voting booth. So don't be shocked about this. I mean, at this point, people have become mentally ill. And if you can't see it at this point, and unfortunately, I still have family members that are still wearing masks, that are afraid to go out in public, and will vote for mentally incapacitated people. We'll just leave it at that. I'm sure you know who I'm talking about. This world is going crazy. I mean, these people screaming. Now, I'm not Jewish. I'm Catholic. I'm a Christian. I'm Irish, English, and Italian, but I am an American 100%. For these kids to be screaming things like from the river to the Ree, and I'm saying it in Scooby-Doo language, and Rinfada, and of course I'm saying these things incorrectly on purpose, they're talking about wiping out a race. Now, whether you believe certain communities, races in this world are problems or not, first of all, that's ridiculous. Second of all, it's never the people. It's always the governments that incite all of this stuff. And unfortunately, there are very naive people, gullible people, or people that will do anything for money that will listen to these fools. If you inserted any other race, it would have been stopped in a second. And yet, you're allowed to basically, and I've watched some of these peaceful protests, and I say that in quotes, where I overheard people screaming death to Jews. That's disgusting. If you want the death of anybody, there's something wrong with you. And to label a specific group as if every single one of them is incapable of their own individual thought, and each person is their own individual who is responsible for their own lives, and you're going to lump everybody into one particular area, well then guess what, ladies and gentlemen? These peaceful protesters are showing what racists they are. As a matter of fact, I saw a video where, I'll just say a black man, because I don't think he's African American, because from what I understand, this person was born in America, not Africa. So people have to really stop their labels. They're American if you were born in America. Be proud of it. You can have heritage that comes from other countries. Like I said, I'm Irish, English, and Italian, but I'm American. I have Irish, English, and Italian heritage, but I have no loyalty to those countries. I'm loyal to the US of A. And I love its people. Don't like the way the government is going on both sides, because if you watch my videos, if you never watched my videos before, go back to my video I did in 2011. Videos when I'm talking about how, symbolism, where the American eagle is symbolism because you always see the wings spread wide, which gives the illusion of separation. You have a left wing and a right wing, but they both connect to the same entity. People need to see actual images for what they are. Because remember, for a lot of our history, there was no written word. They used symbols. They still do that to this day, but they know that 99.9% of the people could have it right in front of their face and would have no clue what it means. But if people turn violent, and it only takes one government agitator to incite emotional people into doing something they would not normally do, there's going to be situations this year. I kept saying to my wife for the longest time, 2024 is going to be the craziest year in existence that we have lived through. And it's already showing that. I mean, when you have government saying they can't tell the difference between a man and a woman, people don't stop to think. When you allow men to enter women's locker rooms, who do you think that benefits more, the men or the women? Okay? When governments allow men to enter into women's sports, where they can do things like beat a woman physically, like in boxing or MMA or wrestling, who do you think that benefits more? The man pretending to be a woman, or hoping to be a woman, or wishing to be a woman, or believing to be a woman? Or do you think the actual woman? Who do you think benefits? So just think about, ladies and gentlemen, when these government people pass these laws that are basically saying that, a woman could be a man too, but, how many women are turning into men and joining the MMA to fight men? How many women are turning into men and going into sword fighting, fencing, track? It benefits men. How many men in, for example, California, where you can identify whatever you want to identify as, just imagine if you're a serial lapist. I'm not going to say the word because, unfortunately YouTube doesn't like reality and truth because they're a bunch of delicate snowflakes. But just imagine a male lapist who gets caught and gets sent to prison and says, well, I identify as a woman. And they have to take him to a women's prison. You don't think that person's going to be thrilled to death like a kid in a candy store? Men are now able to physically beat women, and it's glorified, protected, and they get paid for it. And people on the left are showing their true colors. Because as I was saying before I got sidetracked, there was a black male that was going through one of the colleges and was being stopped by these peaceful protesters who were white liberals, white males, trying to tell a black person where they could and could not walk. By their deeds you shall know them. Anybody remember when Michelle Obama was saying, when they go low, we go high? Where is that anymore? Where's the tolerance? By their deeds you shall know them, ladies and gentlemen. People blocking a Jewish student from entering a classroom just for the fact that they're Jewish. Wrong is wrong. And if you justify it just because it's on your side, then congratulations, you are not a free thinker, you are in a cult. And you would be amazed at how many people on both sides and all sides can be easily placed into a cult. And I'll give you a test right now that I guarantee majority of people will get emotionally angry by hearing this. And I'll prove that even the smartest people can be in a cult. So I'm going to ask you a question, and you can answer it in the chat. Okay? Is the earth flat or is the earth round? I want you to answer that. Now, an indoctrinated person who has been fed lies will say the earth is round, and the others that are the same thing will say the earth is flat. Now, let me ask you this, ladies and gentlemen. How many of you have physically left the planet and gone far enough away to be able to see with your own eyes the planet that you're on, if it's round or flat? Many people right now are laughing at this, rolling their eyes. Some people will shut off the video. Some people will get angry. But just ask yourself that question. You've never left the planet. So the only way you could know if the earth is flat or round, you have not done. So, in other words, whether you believe the earth is flat or you believe the earth is round is based on your feelings or your opinions, or somebody else misleading you in one direction or the other. And that is why I tell people all the time, if you look at the word believe, the word lie is straight in the middle. So whether you believe in something or don't believe something, you have something in common. And this is how they can trick both sides. You don't know. Free thinkers, even though it's not popular, can say, well, I don't know if the earth is round or if the earth is flat. Because hundreds of years, the churches told the people that the earth was flat, to the point where people like Galileo were imprisoned until they died for having a difference of that belief. Notice how when you have to use fear to get somebody to believe something, it's probably not as accurate as they claim it to be. Notice what they did with the slamdemic. How they had to use fear, intimidation, and there are people to this day that still fall for it, even though you could clearly look up stuff and find out things that I've been trying to tell people since the beginning. A free thinker always questions things. And if you are a person who is into meditation and all that other fun stuff, and you believe in infinity, well, then if you believe there is infinity, that means everything exists all at the same time, which means there is a flat earth and a round earth. Two things can exist at the same time and both be opposite of each other and both be true. I've used the example of a roller coaster dozens of times, where two people can be on the same roller coaster, experiencing the same ride, and one sitting right next to each other, seeing the same things, and one could get off that ride and said, I absolutely loved it, and the other person could throw up and say, I will never go on that again, I was so scared. Both have different points of view of the same situation, and both are right. The problem is, in this world, it's like the person who had fun trying to convince the person that was scared that it was fun, and the person that was scared trying to convince the person that had fun that it was scary. You cannot convince people. Free thinkers freely think, which means they're not afraid to question anything, even something that is grossly unpopular. Because like I said, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure many of you know who Galileo is. Well, how many of you knew that he was imprisoned, where he died, because he had the nerve to say that the earth was not the center of the universe, and the sun did not rotate around the earth, and the earth was actually round? He was imprisoned for that. The people shamed him, they laughed him, they mocked him, and this came from the Pope. So just because governments say you could just call yourself whatever you want, and that's legal now, where they've passed laws, just read Title IX. What they've done. They've legally allowed men to abuse women. It's usually not the other way around. So if you're a male abuser who likes to beat up women, you're going to love the fact that you could now say you're a woman, go into a women's MMA sport and beat the living daylights out of them and come out a hero and make money off it and become famous for it. If you're a criminal lapist who likes to lape women, you're going to love the fact that if you ever get caught, that you can call yourself a woman, get thrown in a female prison, which, by the way, how do they call it a female prison if they don't know what a female is anymore? I mean, where are the feminists? Where's your stance to protect women? You know, remember back in the 60s when the women's protests were talking about burning their bras? Do you think guys are like, oh no, please don't do that? Or do you think they're like, yeah, you go girl, you be powerful, you be independent, you burn that bra? Guys love the stupidity of these emotional feminists who don't use their brain to think logically. They base it on emotion. And you think those guys are sitting there on your side because they like what you stand for? Or maybe they like the fact that you want to burn your bra and run around topless so they can look at your chest. Hello, McFly, am I the only one? But most people will not see this. It will probably be blocked, and my channel will eventually be shut down by YouTube, because they're a bunch of pansies, they're a bunch of hypocrites, and they'll show how much money they're willing to accept to look the other way. Where's the integrity? Where's the honor anymore? People are ignoring what's going on. Well, ignore your teeth, they'll go away. You tell me when that's a good thing. So anyway, I'm going to try and upload this. Let's see what happens. If you care about this stuff, then you could share it. My videos will no longer go viral. I need your help. You want to join my Patreon? Maybe that will be an incentive for me to continue to do these videos when I just have nothing to gain anymore. I never really did it for that, but you know, it'd be nice to be able to have people actually comment and view, and actually have some kind of person listen to what I've been trying to warn people since 2011, 2010. So anyway, I really think they're going to have a Middle Eastern woman, most likely, become the next martyr. And it's going to cause supposed unplanned attacks, even though the government definitely is sending in potential, in my belief, potential FBI agents into crowds to incite them and incite violence. If we don't say anything, everything's going to be lost. If you keep your head in your sand, you're not going to breathe very well. Thanks for listening.